What is up, party people? It's your boy Justin Langlois, Sterling Investment Advisors, coming at you with a fishing analogy. So when I was a much younger lad, probably the last 15, 20 years ago, I would fish every other weekend. I'd go off the coast of Louisiana. I've got a camp in Cocodrie. It stands for crocodile in French, for those of you that don't speak it. And I would time my fishing trips with the weekend my mother-in-law would come to town. So she'd come to town, hang out with my wife. I love my mother-in-law. I wasn't trying to run away from her, but coincidentally, I would bolt and go fishing with my buddy Josh. And there are tons of things that you look for before you go fishing. You're looking at phases of the moon. You want to know what other fishermen have been catching, where they've been catching them. But the most important thing that I would look at would be tides. So you have high tide, low tide, and then the dreaded slack tide where nothing's happening. And it kind of feels like we're in a bit of slack tide right now in the commercial real estate world. So I'll give you a few analogies with these phases of tide, and you may draw some comparisons in your own investment life right now. So in the high tide world, which is what we went through the past 2.5 to 3 years, as a seller of property, you raked it in. You did an awesome job. In some instances, you were probably over your skis, to use a snow skiing analogy, but you did great. And then what's happened over the last few months has we've seen a little bit weaker buyer demand. We still see this big gap between seller expectations and the ultimate desires of buyers and what buyers want to pay. So we are in a bit of slack tide. So slack tide, for those of you that don't fish, is it's a barren desert. Water is not moving. You're just kind of sitting there. This is the time you reach in that ice chest. You get that wet sandwich in the Ziploc bag, bust out a cold pop, and you just hang out. Listen to the radio for a little while, but understand the tide always changes. So where we catch the most fish is in between these cycles. So when you go from slack tide to low tide, it's when you catch the most fish. Low tide is what buyers have been licking their chops for the last few years. It is where buyers have an opportunity to make the best real estate decisions of their life. The timing of low tide could come in the next 12 to 18 months. I've seen a lot of reports that think we're just going to hang out in slack tide and we're magically going to go back to where we were the last few years. I find that hard to believe. It definitely won't happen in all asset classes. You got to remember location, geography, the type of assets. Those all play into the various tides that we hang out in. So whether or not you're a fisherman, I'm sure we've all had a soggy sandwich once in our life. Grin and bear it. Take that thing down. Let me know if you got anything you want to talk about in the next call. Peace.